Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Dan Blanchard with the Traveling Time with Dan show. Today I'm in Bristol, Connecticut at the American Clock and Watch Museum. Did you know Bristol, Connecticut used to be the clock capital of the world? Check out this little museum here, pretty cool, right? Right there. Excellent. So anyways, talking about Traveling Time with Dan, this is the show where we mix travel with history and with leadership. So now, I'm sure you're going to want a little history of timekeeping, clocks, watches, all that stuff. Well, in the very beginning, there was the natural rhythms and cycles of timekeeping. You know, there was the daytime, the nighttime, obviously the sun was out or it wasn't. There was the moon cycles, the seasons, winter, all that stuff, right? So that's kind of how it started. Now, eventually, the ancient Egyptians are going to create what's called a sundial, right? And you got some timekeeping with the sundial. Now, the Romans are going to come around. They're going to say, hey, we got to do something at night, right? And the something at night is going to be the paradigm. Is something at night. Eventually, it's kind of funny. You're going to have these pocket sundials going to come around also. And eventually you're going to have a thing that's called a mechanical clock. Think of those old churches with the big tower clocks and all that stuff. Only telling the hours, not the minutes or anything. And that's going to lead to the watches. It's going to lead to the watches, okay? The old mechanical clocks. Now, eventually you're going to get what's called the transcontinental railroad's going to get in there. And you're going to get railroad time and time zones and all that stuff. And the Industrial Revolution is going to happen. And you're going to have a whole bunch of clocks and watches being mass produced and bosses telling employees you better be on time or you're going to be fired. So you better make sure you have a clock or a watch or all that stuff, right? World War I comes and we have to wear wristwatches. I mean, when I was in the Army, I wore a wristwatch. You didn't pull out your pocket watch when you had to keep your hands on your weapon, your gun, your rifle, whatever you want to call it. So the wristwatches became big. Eventually you're going to have the quartz watch. You're going to have the atomic watch, right? Which is going to be super, super accurate. And that just changes everything, right? So I told you that Bristol, Connecticut was the old clock capital of the world. Well, the Connecticut River Valley was actually called the Switzerland, right? It was called the Switzerland of America, which is pretty cool. And that today, whatever this is, a couple hundred years later, here we are in Bristol, Connecticut at the museum. As you can see right there, and as you can see from the sign, it's open. You can go inside and check out the story. I've been inside there. It's really cool. Now listen, timekeeping isn't just about clocks. It really is the history of technology, right? And transforming society. It's about the history of navigation, right? And exploration. Think about the longitude, on the ocean, how many sailors were saved because of this. I think about the history of technology, the history of precision, right? Think about the history of war and communication, right? Think about the history of humans trying to maybe have a better understanding of their lives and control their life, okay? So now, if you have not been to Bristol, Connecticut, it's a pretty cool place. You should definitely check it out in Bristol, Connecticut. And I definitely like to throw some leadership stuff in there. And great leaders do great things when they have everything aligned, right? When everybody is there on time, on task, on purpose, right? Some pretty big, cool things can happen, all right? So again, this is Traveling Time with Dan, where we mix travel with history and with leadership. Thank you for spending some time with me here today, and I'll be back real soon with another episode. Take care. Check it out from Bristol, Connecticut at the old clock capital of the world. Take care, everybody.